Hello everyone, GunChronicles here. Welcome to the channel. Thank you for tuning in for today's episode. Today's episode is going to be over this beast of a Horde base here. I built this back in Alpha 18 and this was my go-to Horde base. Back in Alpha 18, wedge tips were the thing. If a zombie was walking across here and they fell down inside, well, the zombies saw the wedge tips as a legitimate path back then, but they couldn't get enough traction to get up over them. They were stuck. They would try to go up them, but it just wouldn't happen for them. The other cool thing is they wouldn't hit them either. They just absolutely would not try to hit the wedge tips. They were excellent for using. So I put this moat all around, and on Horde night, if they didn't run across this path here and they fell in, well, the only way they had to get out was up these stairs here, which came across on either side. And then the moat goes all the way around on the back too. So they'd have to wander up here and then come up the stairs. And I had a motion sensor hooked up to this powered door. So, and I had it set to trigger not just for me but for the zombies as well. So when I was in my fighting position inside, I could see the door open and knew that a group of zombies was about to come in. As soon as they were cleared out, it'd close back down. So I had a nice easy visual cue to let me know when a wave of zombies was coming in. So that would, when it would close, that'd give me time to repair my guns if I needed to, or reload my my magazines into my guns and then be ready. But since I don't plan on using this for a Horde night, the only way I have of getting in here now is through the rooftop access. But I put these street lamps up on the top to provide light for where the zombie paths were at. Originally I'd made this solid, didn't have the bulletproof glass here, and it really made it kind of dark on the inside, so I went through, redesigned it, and added the glass in, and that really helped with being able to see. I'd put lights inside, but as I was fighting, if I was throwing grenades, or if a cop happened to explode, or I was trying to remember if I think Demolisher showed up in Alpha 18. Yeah, if they exploded, that'd take out my lights, and then it was really dark back here, and then I couldn't see the garage door opening and closing, so that kind of lost my visual cue on when the zombie waves were coming in. So that's why I ended up going with the bulletproof glass up here. Downstairs here, and then this area here was for in case there were buzzards, I could stand in here and shoot at them and not be in any danger of getting pecked to death by them. But I'd have SMG turrets wired up and setting up here. I usually avoided putting traps if I could on my bases, because there's a slight glitch in the game. If you're, oh, good grief. Where's the zombie at? I hear him. Where you at, buddy? There you are. Yeah, see, they can climb up these things now. Try and do a video. Take a hike. There you go. But before I was so rudely interrupted by the locals, if you're making a prefab and you wish to place any traps in your prefab, be forewarned. I have encountered a glitch doing that. You run the risk of having a null reference exception error pop up if you have traps in your base. From what I can tell, the worst ones to trigger it are the electric fence posts, and the other one that's bad to trigger it is sometimes the turrets, and also the pressure plates. For some reason, those are really bad to trigger the error, and when that happens, best case scenario, it will just pop up this screen here, your F1 screen, and you'll have a line that's in red colored text, and you will have to hit your escape key to get to go away. That is the best case scenario. Worst case scenario, it completely locks the game up and you can't even use the Windows key or the Control-Alt-Delete key combination to get out of it. You have to hard boot your system to break out of it. It completely locks everything up. That's the worst case scenario. I have also had it where in the prefab editor, you've saved it out and then it gets that error. Well, depending on where it decided to position that block at in the code that tells it what blocks are where, if it placed that block near the start of that file, it won't load. I've actually lost about 4/5 of a base before, or it loaded in as many blocks as it could, and then it hit that one where it had the error, and then it simply would not load any more blocks in. So you're just kind of out of luck. And naturally, of course, when it did that to me, it was on a very large base, so I lost literally days worth of work was gone, and there was no fixing it. There wasn't any getting it back. I just had to bite the bullet, have a cussing fit, and start from scratch. So just a warning to you. Be very careful if you're adding electrical traps and components to a prefab. You do run the risk of having a null reference exception error. And trust me, it is no fun when it happens. So if you, like me, I did go ahead and put these in, but what I did was I made I built everything up first, made a copy of it, and then saved that copy in a completely different directory, and then I added in the traps and everything to the original, and then saved it, and then loaded it in, and then once you know it loaded in okay, then you're safe. But that's the thing. You don't know when it's going to do it. You may be all right, But just to be on the safe side, have a copy of your prefab before you add in any traps or anything like that that's electrical related. If you have to use the wiring tool to hook it up, add that very last. Save that for the last when you're building, and save it all out before adding it in. Make a copy of it, then go back into the prefab editor and add them in, because it will save you a lot of possibly a lot of time and effort, because it could possibly glitch it out. But now you got that explained. Basically, this base, what happened here was I had a powered door. Yep, it's going to God mode here. Click on the no collision. There we go. Basically, the zombies would path up. They'd see these wedge tips here as a legitimate path, and they would try to walk across them. Well, that wouldn't work for them, so they'd fall down, and they'd land on these hay bales, and they wouldn't go into rage mode. That wasn't a thing in Alpha 18. And then if they did happen to want to try to walk up over here, had some electric fence posts that would shock them. But typically they'd walk over and then come up the stairwell here. Well, in the stairs, I had these fence posts. So as they were going up the stairs, they were getting shocked. And while they were getting shocked, once they got far enough up, had a shotgun auto turret. As soon as they got up to about here, they started getting shot in the back with the shotgun. And there's a whole row of electric fences here as well. And then they'd come down here, they'd hit this trigger plate, and I had it set to these dart traps. And I had them on timer. So they would shoot for like 3 to 4 seconds. That gave them time to walk, and as they're walking this way, they were getting shot in the back with these dart traps. Typically only a demolisher or a cop or a radiated, if they fell down between all the electrical shocks, the shotgun, and these dart traps. They were about the only ones that would make it over here and start trying to come back down here. But here's the other cool thing that you used to be able to do in Alpha 18 and even in Alpha 19. But the fun pimps nerfed this as well, because you know they got to dictate to you how to play the game. You know, can't be being creative. What do you say? This light's causing a little bit of a glare here. There we go. Where you at? Hey, darling. Sorry, we're doing a video. We can't have you interrupting stuff today, okay? But these are the barbed wire sheets, and what you could do was place them in this configuration, and then you could close these garage doors, and what would happen is through the garage doors you'd still have the slowing down effect. They would and even on the side, you know, now that I got this block here, these pole blocks, if you walked like this up against the pole blocks, well, you'd be walking slow. The slow down effect went through the doors and it extended past the pole block. So the zombies would come running in, and as soon as they'd hit this, it was like they hit a big old pile of molasses, and they just slow down big time. So even the fastest running zombies were just basically setting targets here. And they had a second row of them here, so they extended. You had like a 5-block section here and another 5-block section. So you had a total of 10 blocks that they were just running super slow, and you could just kind of sit back here and pick them off easily with any gun. Especially if you had a sniper rifle, you could just zoom in and get headshots for days on them. And you could open up the doors and the windows and chuck grenades and Molotovs down here. And this was just a really effective base. The few that happened to survive you shooting them, they just fall down here and then do a loop. And typically most of them would not make the little gauntlet section over there. They'd die by the time they made it up here. Only when you got in later game stages and had the irradiated zombies, they were about the only ones that would survive it, and then come through for another pass down through here. But I have a go back in God mode here. There is a door in here, and this is a powered door, and there's a switch you throw inside, and it would extend up here. So and if you had everything wired up, you could just walk up the stairs. This door would open for you. You'd walk down through here. Well, it'd even take you a while because of the slowdown effect. But you'd come up here, and then this door, you'd have it powered on, and it'd be up over here, so you could just walk across all this, and then as you walk over, you just close that up, come in here, and then you close these down, flip switch, door would retract, and you're ready for business. And you also had these here you could shoot through, and if you wanted to, you could shoot them in the back as they're going up. This was really handy for the demolishers. If you saw a demolisher and you weren't real confident in your shooting skills and didn't want to set them off, you could just let them walk on up, fall down, and then as they're walking up the stairs, shoot them in the back. Absolutely no risk whatsoever of setting them off when you shoot them in the back. And likewise, you could have this section open, or you could close it off. It's completely your option. But thanks to the fun pimps nerfing the wedge tips, you can still get wedge tips to work, but you have to do more to get them to work now, or you can't just place them down like this now. And then also the big thing was when they got rid of the pass-through effect for the slowing down of the zombies with the barbed wire. Since that no longer works through the garage doors, that kind of got rid of the usefulness of this base, and so it's just kind of obsolete now, unfortunately, which kind of sucks because this thing worked like a charm. But I had the generators were back in here off on the side, completely protected, one on either side, and they powered everything. And then I had all my switches in here for the fence posts, and for working the door, and for the all the fence posts that were hooked up over here, and also for the turning on the turrets that were up top. But wiring this thing up was, I will admit, it was a nightmare, because because the distances involved. You had to run it from the generator to the switch, and then from the switch to all these different relays, and then finally make it out to the different traps. And like I said, here are the posts that go and lead that are over the stairs, and then these are in the hallway, and then you had your dart traps over here. But you had your little kitchen area, medical area, and some crafting stations in here. Forges, workbenches. I like using these chests as once I get them opened, and they make great storage because of the... Oops, wrong gun. Why don't we try the super digger? But yeah, you have all this for storage, and I just like having these handy above the workbenches to put all your crafting materials that you get while you're looting. And then this is here because back in Alpha 18 I just used this for a Horde base. I did not, this was not my regular home / crafting base. And so I had my home base was close to this one, and then I had a tunnel system. So I'd go through the tunnel system under, and then come up in here, and then I'd just enter the place this way, usually. But you also had the option of going through the front door as well. But typically, that's how I got in and out of the place. And then once again, more relays for hooking stuff up. Got a ladder to get to this one. And then got access to get to the doors in case you need to repair them. But this relay here was for getting to the motion sensor and then to the garage door. But yeah, getting it wired up was a major pain in the butt. And of course, you got your bathroom. Got to be able to do your business. Don't want to be peeing in the floor. Maybe the apocalypse. You got to stay halfway civilized. But yeah, this was my favorite Horde base back in Alpha 18. I kind of miss being able to use it. It's kind of sad the attitude the fun pimps have towards what they perceive to be a player exploit. You know, a lot of people really enjoyed making use of the wedge tips, but since they want to dictate to the players how to play the game, it is no more. Personally, I thought better solution would have been to left the wedge tips the way they were and then made it to where the player couldn't walk on them either. That would make more sense because that is a rather steep angle. But obviously the fun pimps do not share that viewpoint. Yeah, chicken. Your chicken's lucky I have plenty of food back at my main base. But yeah, that was this was my go-to Horde base. But just thought I'd give you a run through for this one. I'll think I'm going to start going through and showing some of my other bases that I made. I've been going through my a lot of my modified and other custom POIs, but kind of been ignoring the bases. But figured I'd get back to these for a few episodes, kind of, break it up a little bit. But if you like today's episode, give it a thumbs up and let me know down in the comments. Hope y'all are having a good day yourself, but I'm going to leave you with it. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Gun Chronicles, signing off.